Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing 4 Criterion collection films that could have you laughing hysterically. I laughed in all of these films. And the other thing that might happen, might catch you off guard, they might even make you cry. They might make you feel kind of sad. Dramatic moments of great emotional weight. And these are all terrific films, and I would suggest having each of these in your collection. Some you may have heard of, some you may not have. Starting with a film I've not talked about on this channel before. What a shame. Do the Right Thing. A film set in Brooklyn on a single day in some unbearable summer heat. This is one of Spike Lee's great films. It has a big cast who is trying to withstand the heat, particularly in this pizzeria run by Danny Aiello and his family, including John Turturro. And, they hire this guy, played by Spike Lee, named Mookie, who's delivering pizzas, and he's a black guy working for these Italians. There's lots of racial prejudice and drama throughout the film. Sometimes there are other themes of, work ethic comes up a lot in the film, a whole lot. There's a terrific performance, mother-sister, played by Ruby Dee, who I'm almost positive was in A Raisin in the Sun. I think so, yeah. That's also in the collection, a great film itself. Terrific actress. I mean, the cast is huge. And it's so funny listening to all these guys jab at each other, take little pot shots at each other throughout the film. But there are moments of pretty sincere, emotional intensity, especially toward the end. And if you are watching the movie and you're kind of keeping up with it and seeing that there's a lot of humor back and forth, that end might really shock you and catch you off guard. It is one of the great movie endings ever. And it's just really well directed. I think Spike Lee's work at the end of this, how well he was able to pull off that 180, is really a little bit underestimated and belongs up there as one of the great all-time films. I do believe that this is one of the very best films of the 80s and certainly something you should own in your collection. And by the way, it looks really, really good. If you don't have the Criterion, I had a DVD for a long time, and I as soon as I saw this thing, I had to buy it years ago. So maybe this, you know what, I'm going to go back and rewatch this in the summer. I've forgotten how much I love the film. I've seen it at least 5 times. It's so good. All right, the second film is one I recently watched that inspired this entire list. Bong Joon-ho's Memories of Murder. Not Memories of a Murder, Memories of Murder. This involves a trio of detectives. 2 of them are local. One of them is brought from out of town from a larger area. And they're investigating a serial killer. And the 2 guys that bring the other guy from outside or realize they're really kind of, they're in over their head. There's a good bit of black comedy in here, as these police are extremely brutal at times to some of their suspects. They even are really mean to someone with pretty significant intellectual disabilities. There's a lot of cat and mouse, a lot of, the film will take you one way and then, oops, this is really what was going on. I think it's so unconventional in some ways in how it approaches the genre, and there are definitely parts that could even be frustrating as you watch it because you're used to certain patterns. Like if you watch a lot of crime shows, this throws a lot of that out the window, and it especially gets a lot of humor out of how investigations can go wrong. I've read people that say things like, it's almost like everyone around is apathetic, and they don't realize that a crime scene is very easily disrupted, and some of the drama that will perhaps actually make you cry, it comes down to how difficult the investigation can become when there are too many different moving pieces. Characters can have intentions for good or bad, and sometimes that doesn't matter, because crimes are difficult to solve. And Memories of a Murder really impressed me on my first watch. I think I want to see it again, to really wrap my mind around all the plot and things I missed with the characters. But this, if you like Alfred Hitchcock also, I was thinking people that like Alfred Hitchcock would probably like this. And if you're not as used to subtitles, but you want to give one a try, this might be a good starter one. A lot of the humor is in the body language and the physical motions of the characters when it is funny. I did laugh a lot at this movie, but there were certain sequences, particularly one in a tunnel, that left me quite emotional. So if anyone teared up during this, let me know. It is a very sad movie. Now, another movie that comes to mind that I recently bought, and I liked it, but I wasn't sure I quite loved it, but it kept coming back to my mind, and that always tells me that there's really something there in terms of a strong film. This is actually a 2-pack of movies that was recently released. Jean Dufleury and Manon of the Spring it falls under my category of movies that can make you laugh or cry if you like follow the two movies as one greater whole. If you haven't seen these, you really need to see one and the other. They don't work separated exactly. So this is a story about this family that moves into this French countryside, and they're moving in, but they don't realize that there is a really powerful for agricultural. There's a good spring, and it's kind of like they're not supposed to know about it because there's these other two guys that are kind of greedy and want to plant some flowers of their own there, and so they're sabotaging the new landowners, and it's this kind of drama by the countryside. And in the second film, after Jean de Fleury, Manon of the Spring is about this daughter who works the land afterward, maybe, and we see how she kind of deals with inheriting it. They're very pretty films, and they are really kind of funny because the main the main guy is this dude right here, and he is just like, he is so funny. He's like, gosh, I forget his name, but the dude with the hat on, he sort of might remind you of Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood. And I just was thinking, like, I did actually both laugh and find the very ending of the second movie to be quite emotional. Again, it's one of those movies that changes tone sometimes and effectively, but again, you have to view them as two pieces of a greater whole. I think this is one of those films that, like, it is a little bit more traditional than the Criterion Collection sometimes goes. It feels like, kind of up and down arc. It's not the most creative thing ever, but I really do like the films, and I do think they're worth checking out, even if you don't buy it. I think if you like French films, though, you should probably just buy this one. Definitely a good one to check out. But the number one film that comes into mind for this kind of category, if it's not Do the Right Thing, it's another great film from the 80s, Martin Scorsese's masterpiece, Raging Bull. Has a film ever displayed as many emotions as Robert De Niro's black and white film where he portrays the absolute madman, Jake LaMotta, alongside of his funny, charming brother, played by Joe Pesci, who sort of puts up with his crap for a time. And the conversations between Joe Pesci and Rob De Niro are hilarious. There's a great conversation in there about table. When I hit you at a table, I can't do it. It's a funny movie until it's not. Once Jake LaMotta starts ruining his life as a professional boxer and ruining his relationship with his wife or wives and his brother, and they're screaming and hollering, and it's so sad to watch this man fall and never contain his rage and emotion, thus Raging Bull, evoking images of a bull in a china shop. And I think that this movie is one of Scorsese's very best, and if you haven't seen it, it looks absolutely awesome, the 4K, by the way, when I've looked at it. Terrific cast, terrific film, kind of Rob De Niro there sort of looking like a ghost in that one. So those are my film recommendations that would fall under this category of they can make you laugh and they can make you cry. This is a big category, so I was hoping you all could drop a like button if you like the content here, the thumbs up, and leave me a comment about what you think might fall under this category. What's a film that was both funny and kind of had an emotional pull as well? Subscribe if you haven't, because I cover lots of Criterion stuff on here. We'll see you next time. Cody in the Cinema.